There are places the world has forgotten, places where maps end and silence begins, places where the sky has turned its back and never looked again. I know these places. I have walked their dust. Today, Soraya and I travel to one of them. We left before dawn, the cool hours, the merciful hours. Now the sun climbs and the heat returns, and the desert reminds us what it is. Endless, patient, indifferent. Soraya walks beside me, her headscarf pulled low against the glare, her eyes on the horizon. She knows where we're going. She's heard me speak of this place, the village at the edge of nothing, the place where I grew up hearing stories, the place I visited once, decades ago. I wonder if it still exists. I wonder if anyone is left. The path is not a path, just faint impressions in the hardpan, tracks from carts that passed years ago, maybe decades. The desert erases everything eventually, footprints, roads, memory. Given enough time, it erases the people too. We walk for hours, the sun beats down, my throat is dry, my legs ache. But we carry water, enough for 2 days if we're careful. We've learned to be careful. The desert teaches that lesson early, or it doesn't teach it at all. Soraya stops, points, there, on the horizon. Shapes that aren't rocks, shapes that are too regular, too deliberate. Buildings, what remains of them. The village. It takes another hour to reach it. The distance deceives. Everything looks closer than it is out here. The emptiness plays tricks. Makes you think you're almost there when you're not even halfway. Makes you believe in water that doesn't exist. Makes you see trees that vanish when you approach. Mirages. That's what we call them. The desert's lies. But the village is real. As we get closer, I can see the walls. Mud brick, crumbling at the edges. Sun bleached to the color of bone. Some roofs have collapsed. Others lean at angles that defy sense. The wind has carved new shapes into the old structures, rounded what was once square, smoothed what was once sharp. Time. That's what I'm looking at. Time made visible. We enter through what used to be the main road. Now it's just a gap between ruins. Sand has piled against doorways, drifted into corners, reclaimed the spaces where people once lived. Silence. That's the first thing I notice. The absolute silence. No voices, no animals, no wind today even. Just the sound of our footsteps and our breathing and the creak of the pack on my shoulders. Then I see movement. A face in a window. Gone before I can be sure. Soraya sees it too. She doesn't speak, just touches my arm. A signal. We are not alone. We stop walking. Wait. Show that we mean no harm. Out here strangers can mean anything. Bandits, thieves, desperate people who have lost what little they had. We stand in the open, visible, vulnerable. This is how you build trust in the forgotten places. You make yourself small. You wait. Minutes pass. Then a door opens. An old woman steps out. Her face is a map of wrinkles. Her eyes are sharp, suspicious. She wears clothes that were colorful once, now faded to ghosts of their former selves. Blues that became gray, reds that became brown. The sun takes everything eventually, even color. She stares at us. I raise my hand, slowly. A greeting. Nothing threatening. She doesn't respond, just watches, evaluates, decides. Then she speaks. One word. A question in the old tongue. The language my grandmother used. The language I thought I had forgotten. I answer. Tell her who I am, where I come from, that we mean no harm, that we have water to share if they need it. Something shifts in her face, not quite softening, but the sharp edges of suspicion round slightly. She calls out. Other doors open, other faces appear, old men, women of various ages, and children. The children. They emerge slowly, clinging to their mother's hands, peeking from behind worn fabric. Their eyes are huge, curious, wary. They've seen strangers before, maybe not often, maybe not kindly. I count them. 7, 8, 9 children, different ages. The oldest, maybe 12. The youngest still carried on a hip. They share something in common, a look I can't quite name at first. Then I understand. They have never known abundance. These are children shaped by absence, by lack, by the constant presence of not enough. Their frames are thin, their movements careful. They've learned already that energy is precious, that running and jumping and playing are luxuries that cost water and food and rest. The old woman approaches, tells us her name, tells us the village's name. A word that means last water in the old tongue. An ironic name now. There is no water here anymore. Not for years. How do you survive? I ask. She points east. A well. 3 hours walk. They send the strongest ones every day. They carry what they can. It's barely enough. Sometimes not enough. What happened? She shrugs. The well here died. Dried up completely. 8 years ago. Or 9. She's lost count. Time moves differently when every day is the same struggle. When every morning you wake wondering if this is the day the eastern well dies too. Why don't you leave? She looks at me like I've asked why the sun rises. This is home. Where would they go? The cities don't want them. The other villages have their own problems, their own dying wells, their own children with hunger in their eyes. Moving solves nothing. It just trades one hardship for another. So they stay, and they wait, and they hope for something that hasn't come in years. Rain. Soraya moves past me, toward the women, toward the children.
Is it safe?
She has a way about her, a gentleness that transcends words.
There's enough.
The wariness in their faces fades when she approaches. She reaches into her pack, pulls out dried fruit, offers it to a young mother holding an infant. The woman's eyes fill with tears, not because of the gift, because of the gesture, because someone came, because someone saw them. I watch Soraya work. This is her skill, the one I can never match. Connection. She doesn't speak much. She doesn't need to. Her hands communicate. Her eyes listen. Within minutes, she's surrounded by women showing her things. The way they patch clothes that have been patched 100 times, the containers they use to carry water, the tiny garden they've coaxed from the dust, using every drop they can spare. The children watch her too. Then slowly, they approach. Touch the fabric of her dress, the silver bracelet on her wrist. She lets them. Smiles. Produces more dried fruit from pockets I didn't know she had. She always carries more than I realize. For moments like this. For children, she's never met in places she's never been. She plans for kindness, makes room for it in her pack when I'm calculating water and food and nothing else. I stay with the old men. They sit in the shade of a half-collapsed wall, watching, always watching. There's little else to do here. They tell me stories about the well that died, about the summer it happened. The terrible summer when they realized the water wasn't coming back. They had dug deeper. Of course they had. Scraped at the earth with hands that bled. Reached for water that wasn't there. Some of the men died trying. Heat stroke, exhaustion. Despair that became something physical. They're buried behind the village. New graves in ancient ground. After the digging failed, some families left. The young ones mostly. The ones with strength enough to walk to somewhere else. The village was larger once. Much larger. Now only the old remain. The stubborn. The ones with nowhere else to go. And the children of those who couldn't leave. I ask about rain. The oldest man laughs. A dry sound. Like sand shifting. Rain is a story, he says. A legend. Something the old ones speak of. The children. They've never seen it. Not once, not a single drop in their entire lives. I let that sink in. Never seen rain. I try to imagine it. Growing up without ever feeling water fall from the sky. without ever seeing the world transform, without ever knowing that wet freshness that follows a storm, the smell of dust surrendering to moisture, the sound of drops on dry earth, the miracle of it. These children don't know, can't know. Rain to them is like dragons or magic or cities made of gold. A story, nothing more. The old man watches my face, sees my reaction, nods slowly. This is what the world does, he says. It takes things away, and the children born after don't miss what they never had. They think the empty sky is normal. They think thirst is just how life works. They don't know there's supposed to be more. Maybe that's mercy, I say. Maybe, he agrees. Or maybe it's the worst cruelty of all. Not knowing what you've lost. We sit in silence after that. There's nothing to add. The truth sits between us, heavy and still. Soraya spends the afternoon with the women. I see her in the distance, showing them something. The way she moves her hands, demonstrating, teaching. She knows techniques for finding water, signs in the plants, patterns in the insects. She's teaching them to read the desert the way she reads it. One of the young mothers follows every movement, memorizing. She'll pass this knowledge on. Maybe it will help, maybe it won't. But Soraya gives it anyway. That's who she is. She doesn't calculate whether help will work. She just helps. The children gather around them, still curious, still shy, but loosening now. The littlest one tugs at Soraya's headscarf. She laughs, takes it off, wraps it around the child like a game. The child spins, giggles. A sound so rare in this place that the adults stop what they're doing to listen. Laughter. When did they last hear a child laugh like that? I look at the sky. Cloudless. Endlessly, mockingly blue. The same sky that refuses to weep for these people. The same sky that watches them suffer and offers nothing. I've never hated the sky before, but I feel something close to it now. The afternoon wears on. Shadows lengthen. The heat begins to ease, just slightly. The women prepare food. They insist. Hospitality, even here, even now, demands that guests be fed. I try to refuse. We have our own supplies. They need every morsel. But refusal would insult them, would strip them of the one thing they still have, their dignity. So we eat. A thin soup. Dessert plants I recognize, some I don't. Bread so flat and hard you could use it as a tool. But we eat. And we thank them. And we pretend this is a feast. The children eat too. Careful portions, controlled movements. They've been trained not to waste, not to want too much, not to expect seconds. I watch a boy of maybe 5 scrape his bowl clean with a piece of bread, getting every drop, every calorie. His eyes are ancient in his young face. Soraya catches my gaze across the gathering. She sees what I see. I know she does. Her eyes are wet. She blinks it away, smiles at the child next to her, gives him her portion of bread. He hesitates, looks at his mother. She nods. He takes it. This is what we came to witness. This is the forgotten town. These are the children who have never seen rain. After the meal, the old woman leads us to the edge of the village, shows us the old well, the one that died. It's just a hole now, a scar in the earth. They've covered it with stones to keep children from falling in, a grave for water. She tells me the well was ancient, older than anyone could remember. It had sustained the village for generations, hundreds of years maybe. Then one day, nothing. The bucket came up empty, and empty again, and again, and that was the end. I look into the darkness of the covered well. Think about all the life it gave, all the years it kept people alive. Now just a hole, just absence. The desert doesn't hate us, the old woman says. It doesn't love us either. It simply is. We are the ones who chose to live here. We are the ones who made this our home. The desert never asked us to come, never promised us anything. We came anyway. We stayed anyway. And now we pay the price. Is it worth it? I ask. Staying. She looks at the village behind us. The crumbling walls, the tired people, the children who have never seen rain. Where else is there, she says. For us? Nowhere. This is home. You don't abandon home just because it becomes hard. You don't leave the bones of your ancestors because the water went away. This is who we are. This place made us, and we will stay until it unmakes us. I don't know what to say, so I say nothing. The sun begins to set, orange and red bleeding across the horizon. Beautiful, cruel. A sunset doesn't care who watches it, doesn't care if the watchers are dying of thirst. Soraya finds me at the old well, stands beside me, doesn't speak, just presence, just company. We can't save them, I say. She knows. Of course she knows. We came with water for 2 days. They need water for years, decades, forever. We can't carry that. No one can. She takes my hand, squeezes. We saw them, she says finally, her voice quiet. Rough from the dusty air. We came. We witnessed. That matters. Does it? She doesn't answer, because we both know the truth. Witnessing doesn't fill bellies, doesn't bring rain, doesn't resurrect dead wells. Witnessing is what you do when you can't do anything else. But she's right too. In a way, I don't want to admit. These people exist in silence, forgotten by the world, invisible to maps and governments and anyone who might help. We came. We saw their faces. We learned their names. We will remember them when we leave. Is that enough? No, of course not. But it's something. Maybe the only something we have to give. We stay the night, sleep on hard ground inside one of the more stable buildings. The old woman insists. Travel at night is dangerous. Animals, getting lost, the darkness that swallows everything. I lie awake for hours, listening to the silence, thinking about the children sleeping nearby. Dreaming dreams I can't imagine. Dreams without rain. Dreams of a sky that never changes. What do they hope for? What do they wish for when they don't know what they're missing? Soraya sleeps beside me, her breathing steady. But I know she's awake too. I can feel it. The tension in her body. The way she faces away from me. She's crying. Silently, so as not to wake anyone. So as not to burden me with her grief. That's who she is. Carries her pain privately. Lets it out only when she thinks no one will notice. I notice. Always. I don't say anything. Don't try to comfort her. Some griefs need to flow. Need to exist without being fixed or explained or reasoned with. She is mourning these children, these lives, this place. She is mourning what the world has become in these forgotten corners. I mourn with her, in my own way, in the silence. Morning comes too quickly. We rise with the first light. The village is already awake, already preparing for another day of the same. The strongest ones getting ready for the 3-hour walk to the eastern well. The others preparing to wait, to hope, to endure. Soraya goes to the young mothers one last time. She has made something during the night. I didn't see when, didn't hear her working. But she produces a woven cord, knots in specific patterns. She ties it around one of the mother's wrists, explains something in quiet words I can't hear. The woman nods, tears on her cheeks. She understands. Soraya moves to the next woman, does the same, and the next, giving them something. Not water, not food, but something. The children gather again. They've become bolder overnight, less afraid of these strangers who brought dried fruit and kindness. One of them tugs at Soraya's dress, the same little one from yesterday, the one who wore her headscarf. Soraya kneels, eye level. She touches the child's face, gentle, tender, says something I can't hear. The child nods solemnly, as if receiving an important mission. Then Soraya does something I don't expect. She takes off her silver bracelet, the one she's worn for as long as I've known her, the one that catches the light when she works, the one that is part of who she is. She puts it on the child's wrist. Too big, much too big. But the child clutches it like treasure, eyes wide, mouth open in wonder. The mother starts to protest. Such a gift, too much.
Take her wrist, my
But Soraya shakes her head, closes the woman's hands around her daughter's wrist, insisting. I watch this exchange, my throat tight, my eyes burning. She gives everything. That's Soraya. She gives until there's nothing left. And somehow, there's always more. We say our goodbyes. The old woman clasps my hands. Her grip is stronger than I expected. She says something in the old tongue. A blessing, I think. Or maybe just farewell. The words blur together. The men nod. Serious, dignified. They will not weep in front of strangers. That's not who they are. But I see it in their eyes. The gratitude that they struggle to express. The knowledge that we will leave and they will stay. And nothing will change. The children wave. The little one holds up her wrist, shows off the bracelet, beaming. We walk away. I don't look back. I can't. If I look back, I'll stay. And staying helps no one. We don't have water for months. We don't have rain to give. We are just two more desert wanderers passing through, leaving footprints that the wind will erase by nightfall. The village shrinks behind us, becomes shapes on the horizon, then specks, then nothing. Just desert again, empty and endless and indifferent. We walk in silence, for hours, the sun climbing, the heat returning, my legs aching from yesterday's journey, my heart heavier than my pack. Soraya walks beside me, her wrist bare now, strange to see it naked, like something is missing, something fundamental. I want to say something. Tell her that what she did was beautiful. Tell her that the bracelet will mean everything to that child. Tell her that she is better than me in ways I can never match. But I don't. The words feel small, inadequate. She knows anyway. She always knows. Midday. We stop to rest in the shadow of a rock formation. Drink carefully from our water supply. Eat dried food that tastes like dust. My mouth is dry. My body is tired. But my mind won't stop. The children's faces, the old woman's words, the empty well covered with stones like a grave. This is what the world forgets, I say finally. Soraya looks at me, waits. These places, these people, they exist, they suffer, they endure, and nobody knows, nobody cares. They just fade away, one by one, village by village, until there's nothing left. And the desert swallows everything, and it's like they never were. She doesn't argue, doesn't offer false comfort, just nods. Maybe that's the worst part, I continue. Not the suffering, the invisibility, the knowing that when they're gone, truly gone, no one will notice, no one will mourn. The world will keep spinning and the cities will keep growing and the people with water will keep wasting it and these forgotten places will just vanish. My voice cracks. I didn't expect that. The emotion catching me off guard. Soraya moves closer, puts her hand on mine, her bare wrist against my skin. We noticed, she says. We will remember. Is that enough? No, but it's what we have. We sit there, in the shadow, the heat pressing around us, the silence stretching. No, it's not enough. Nothing is enough. Nothing will ever be enough for those children who have never seen rain. Nothing can give them back what the world never gave them in the first place. But we were there. We saw them. We will carry them with us. That is the only thing that doesn't feel like a lie. We continue walking. The afternoon bleeds into evening. The sky turns colors again, orange and red and purple. Beautiful, always beautiful, even when beauty is an insult to suffering. As darkness falls, we make camp. A small fire. Just enough to cook. Just enough to see. The flames dance against the night. Familiar. Constant. A comfort in the emptiness. Soraya prepares our meal. Simple food. Desert food. Sustenance. Nothing more. We eat in silence, watching the stars emerge, one by one, then all at once. A sky full of distant fires. I think about the children in that village, looking at these same stars, not knowing that somewhere out there water falls from the sky, not knowing that other children splash in puddles and dance in storms and complain about getting wet. Ignorance as protection, knowing as burden. I carry both now, the weight of seeing. The fire crackles, settles. Soraya looks at me across the flames, her face half shadow, her eyes reflecting light. Will you write about them? She asks. I don't know. You should. Maybe. Someone should know, she says. Someone outside these forgotten places. Someone who can do something. Anything. I look at the fire. The way it consumes and transforms, the way it gives light by destroying. What can anyone do, I say? The wells are dry. The rain doesn't come. The world doesn't care. What can words change? She doesn't answer right away. Pokes at the fire with a stick, sends sparks spiraling upward. Maybe nothing, she admits. Maybe words change nothing. Maybe those children will grow up and grow old and die without ever seeing rain. Maybe the village will crumble and vanish and be forgotten by everyone, including us. She pauses. But maybe not. Maybe someone reads your words and feels what we felt. Maybe they do something. Send water. Dig wells. I don't know. Something. Or maybe they just remember. Maybe remembering is enough. Is it? She shrugs, her shoulders thin in the firelight. I don't know. But what's the alternative? Silence? Letting them disappear without anyone knowing they existed? No. Then write. I look at her. This woman who has walked beside me for decades, who gives away silver bracelets and teaches strangers and cries silently in the night. This woman who believes in words when I've forgotten how. Why did you give her the bracelet? I ask. She doesn't pretend not to understand, just looks at her bare wrist, touches the skin where silver used to be. So she knows she's real, Soraya says quietly. So she has proof that someone came, that someone saw her, that she's not invisible. She pauses, swallows. That bracelet has been everywhere I've been, every place. Every struggle, every joy. Now it will be with her, in that village, in that forgotten corner of the world. And when she looks at it, she'll remember that two strangers walked out of the desert and cared enough to stop. My throat tightens. Eyes burn. She was already real, I manage. Soraya nods. I know. But now she knows too. The fire between us, the stars above us, the desert all around. Somewhere behind us, a village sleeps. Children dream their rainless dreams. An old woman keeps watch over a dying world. A little girl clutches a silver bracelet and imagines the places it has been. They are forgotten, but not by us. Never by us. I take out the worn journal I carry, the one where I record everything, every day, every survival, every moment that matters. I begin to write about the forgotten towns, about the children who have never seen rain, about the wells that die and the people who stay anyway, about Soraya's bracelet on a tiny wrist, about what it means to witness when you cannot save. The words come slowly, imperfect, inadequate, but they come. And somewhere in the distance, in a village with no name on any map, a child sleeps with silver against her skin, dreaming of strangers who came from nowhere and vanished into nothing, dreaming perhaps of water falling from the sky, not knowing that such a thing exists, not knowing what she's missing, the cruelest mercy of all. I write until the fire dies, until the words run out, until there's nothing left but silence and stars and the weight of what I've seen. Soraya sleeps now. For real this time, her face peaceful in the darkness. Tomorrow we walk on, back to our life, our shelter, our own struggle against the endless desert. But we carry them with us now. The forgotten ones, the invisible ones, the children who have never seen rain. We cannot save them. We can only remember and hope that somehow, somewhere, remembering is enough. The stars watch, silent, eternal, offering no answers. I close the journal, lie back, look up at the sky that refuses to weep. Tomorrow will be another day, another walk, another survival. But tonight, I let myself mourn for the forgotten towns, for the rainless children, for all the places the world has turned its back on, and for the small, stubborn hope that witnessing matters, even when it changes nothing, even when it's all we have. The fire turns to embers, the darkness deepens, and somewhere far away, a child holds a silver bracelet and dreams.